So if you want to start a social media channel and grow a social media channel and learn how to make 6 figures from it, you're going to want to watch this video today.
We have a very special guest here with us today that has actually done it.
But before we get into it, make sure you guys hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm.
All right, so today we're sitting down with Ryan Pineda. Ryan, I want to ask you, you're a very successful guy. We've known that, and we've known each other for a few years now. We've been investing alongside each other. You had multiple businesses, successful businesses. What made you want to even start the social media endeavor?
I'll tell you, dude, I never wanted to do social media. Like, I was just cool staying in my lane, making money, building businesses. And it wasn't until somebody actually told me, they said, Ryan, if you actually start making content based on what you're doing, it's going to make your businesses even stronger. And I was like, all right. So I started filming my flips and real estate investing stuff. And they were right. Like, even with a really small following, I got more deals. I got money to fund flips. It led to all these things. So I was a believer at, like, I would even say a small level. And it wasn't until 2020 when I became a believer at, like, a big level for what's truly possible.
Yeah, when you first got started, did you start with it becoming an actual business, an actual revenue model in mind? Or did you start thinking, hey, I just want to exploit what I'm doing in the real estate world and see what comes out of it?
I would say when I first started doing social media, this was like back in 2016, 2017, there was no revenue model or nothing. It was just like, let's just throw stuff out there, see what happens. And it was good. But in 2020, I decided to like make it its own standalone business, you know, brand, and say, hey, I run businesses this way. Why not run social media this way and figure out how to make money just on social media? And I mean, that's the crazy part for viewers is you don't even need a business. Like, my social media by itself could make 6 figures, right, like easily. Well, actually it does, but it's just a matter of like how big I really want to grow it.
So it started out as more of like an enhancement to do the things that you were already doing, getting
right,
more deals, meeting more people, and then it graduated to becoming its own real standalone thing.
Exactly. Just like with your guys' brand, the Boeckle brothers, it's its own standalone thing now. My businesses, yeah, they get exposure from it, but if I wanted to just be a quote-unquote influencer or creator, I could do that too.
Yeah, that's what's really great about it is it doesn't matter where you start.
No.
Yeah, I mean, some of the people making the most amount of money on YouTube, they don't really run a specific business such as real estate. You know, you look at people opening presents on camera. You look at, you know, someone like Mr. Beast who has done giveaways, or, you know, he's not using a true business to exploit. He's using social media as a business.
Well, what's interesting is take a guy like Mr. Beast, for example. He started out as a YouTuber, right? And then he built businesses after.
Right. Inverse of yours.
Yeah, and I think 99% of people follow that model. They get famous on social media and they make money. You know, they're getting sponsors, they're getting ad revenue, affiliates, all that stuff. And then eventually they realize, oh, I could go make a makeup product. Yeah. I could go make my own thing. I could go make Beast Burgers.
They have eyeballs now,
Yeah.
and they realize, okay, well, I can sell almost anything.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so business comes after. And yeah, they don't know how to run businesses like we do, but they can go partner with someone who does because they have the eyeballs. Yeah. And so I guess the point for anyone watching this is if you just get the eyeballs first, literally everything else comes after. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's easy to figure it out once you have that already set in stone.
Right.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about some of the opportunities that have come about from your social media growth over the last, it's really only been a year and a half now.
Yeah, it has not been long, and it's crazy. Like, just with sponsors and different things, like I've gotten the chance to sponsor with PayPal, with TurboTax, with, you know, like big companies. I'm like, these guys pay me to make a 20-second TikTok, like thousands of dollars. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, okay, like, what do you want me to say? And they're like, you know, and so that stuff's cool. I think the relationships are even better. To me, that's the most valuable part. When I get to meet other high-level people or people of influence because of my influence, it like leads to just crazy stuff. Yeah. So I think just sponsors and all that stuff is great. I think obviously with owning businesses, that's like the end goal for any influencer because if you can redirect your traffic to your businesses, that's where the real money's made.
So I have to ask, so who is probably the coolest person in your mind that you've connected with strictly because of social media?
Dude, it's crazy. So I was saying this at our mastermind. I had Giannis, the NBA MVP, call me.
Potential champion, we'll see.
Yeah, I think I'm rooting for him. He's my guy now.
He's a friend now, yeah.
Yeah, we're best buds. Yeah. So, that was so random, out of the blue. I've had rappers and singers reach out to me, super random. And then just, on the influencer side, a ton of guys. I got to collab with Ryan Serhant, who's, I would say, the most famous realtor in the world. I got to talk to Lewis Howes, who I've always looked up to. Love his podcast, his content. And then, he DMs me. I'm like, what is going on here? This is nuts. And that's what I'm most excited about, is to meet these high-level people. The sponsors and the money's cool, but that's, for me, what I like.
I can agree. It's been so cool. Just for us, just getting started. We just hit 1,000 subscribers, so we're in the infancy of starting our YouTube channel and running it and growing it. But we've already connected with people that have big followings or big YouTubers, like Andre Jeek, who we just did a video, and he just released one where we rehabbed his house. We have another one coming out, which may be out by the time this video hits. But it was so cool to connect with him. And honestly, it becomes more of a trade-off, like an exchange. It's not one-sided at all.
Right, it's total collaboration. I mean,
Well, I would say, and this is what I've realized since we're in the same industry, is we have a lot of value to offer to everyone else, because everyone wants to buy real estate.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that was how I met so many of these guys. They're like, dude, you're the real estate expert. Can you help us with this? And it's cool that we have that value to offer them. But I would say for other people who are just getting started watching this video, you don't have to be an expert in an industry, right? If you can develop a following, you can now go seek out the experts like you guys or me or whoever, and they'll work with you because you have a following.
Absolutely.
And so it works both ways. It just kind of makes it a little easier for us when we have something of value to offer them, even without a following.
Sure.
Totally agree. So for those just getting started and kind of in the position we're in, we're in your mastermind. We know, some of the basics of consistency, but we're learning how tough it is. How did you become so consistent, starting out? Did you start out with a crew, or did you start out filming by yourself? What did the beginning look like last year?
Yeah, so last year when I decided I wanted to go all in on social media and take it seriously, I didn't have any YouTube subscribers. I didn't have a TikTok. I maybe had 15,000 followers on Instagram, which is good. But today it's, between all of them combined, it's close to 1 million. And the first thing I decided was I believe in social media, number one, and I believe in my ability to, figure it out. I didn't know how I was going to get there. I just had belief.
You got to start there.
Yeah, so I would say that's the first step for everyone watching, is you got to truly believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe, you ain't going to cut it. Because it's a slow game. You guys
confidence.
know. Yeah. You have to have faith, too, that, hey, even though I'm not getting all the views or the subscribers yet, it's going to happen as long as I keep up the work. So belief is number one. Number two is consistency. And so I set out a plan. I said, look, here's my plan. I'm going to post twice a week on YouTube. As long as I put out my 2 videos, I'll live with the results. I'll analyze them. I'll try and figure out how I could have did them better, but 2 a week is what I want to do.
Okay.
And then on TikTok, I said, I want to just put out 1 TikTok every day. I can do that. It takes me at the time, it took me an hour to do one. Today, it takes me way shorter. But back then, I was figuring it out. I said, hey, I can dedicate an hour a day to putting out a TikTok. And so I did that. And sure enough, after months of doing that same schedule, I was not getting great results. I mean, 2 months into it, I probably had the same amount of subscribers you have. And for me, I think as entrepreneurs, we're always like, man, let's do this quick.
Right, we want to do it as fast and as efficient as possible.
Why am I only at 1,000? But I also had the belief that, hey, even though it's not at whatever I was hoping for right away, I know that I'm on the right path. It's going to happen. I just need to stay consistent. And so that's what I did. And, eventually, by staying consistent, I actually started to learn what I was good at. And so I would say that's step 3 is once you're staying consistent, start analyzing and figuring out what worked, what didn't work, start adjusting. I guess I would call that step 3 adjustment period. And I think that's kind of where you guys are at. You guys are being consistent. You guys obviously believe in it. You guys are going hard at it. Now it's just time to analyze what you've done, start making adjustments, and do videos that, do more of what's doing good, less of what's doing bad.
Look inward and actually see what's working, what's not.
Yeah, make those adjustments. And I can tell you, if you just repeat that over and over again, you're going to consistently grow because you're just adjusting all the time.
Just iterate.
Yeah.
So one question I had that you covered was when you first started, you set those initial metrics for yourself. I'm going to do 2 YouTubes a week, 1 TikTok a day.
Yep.
Did someone influence you to set those goals, or was that just, I just randomly came up with this?
Yeah.
This is what I want to do.
What kind of studying did you do to learn to start out and learn the game?
Yeah, so as far as studying goes, I bought my friend Graham Steff. Well, he wasn't my friend at the time, but Graham Steffen's YouTube course. I said, what's this guy doing, right? Meet Kevin had one. I watched that. I watched every YouTube I could watch about growing a YouTube, like this video, I guess. Yeah. And so I absorbed that. And thankfully, I did it during the pandemic when we all had a bunch of free time. Sure. So that's what I did with mine. For TikTok, I watched this guy. His name's Robert Benjamin. He's become a friend too, but he had a TikTok course. I was like, I'll watch this. And I watched other TikToks about how to grow TikTok. Yeah. And so that was really my amount of studying. But I wouldn't say any of those influenced me to like that schedule. That was just more about like, hey, this is what I believe I can do with my time and resources. Okay. And I think for anyone watching this, whatever it is for you, even if it's posting 1 YouTube a week, or if it's posting a couple of TikToks a week, like, just be consistent to whatever it is you choose. Mm-hmm. And then during that adjustment period, figure out, hey, is this working? Should I do more of it? And that's what I did. I said, hey, I'm doing 2. I think I can do 3 now. Mm-hmm. So I did 3. Then we're getting results. I say, well, let's see what happens if I do 4. Let's see what happens if I do 5. And then I ended up doing 1 every day at one point. And then I realized, okay, this is too much. Like, let's
turn it back down.
So you scaled up and then you decided to scale back down, which is making a big adjustment on your end, because you figure someone like the better you're doing very well. You have people around you now you didn't at the beginning, but you should be able to do all these videos and be successful with it all. But you found that, hey, it's still just too much. I have a capacity, and to put out the quality, we need to bring it down a bit so that everything could be. You're thinking a little bit more quality than quantity. It sounds like now.
Yeah, and also I realized like what videos worked and what didn't. So like to do 7 videos a week, you gotta have a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
And some of them are kind of junk and just like, whatever. I'll throw
trying to do another video.
Yeah. And so it wasn't a good idea that I really shouldn't have just did it all. So that was part of it. But the second question you asked was like, what did the team look like starting out? Mm-hmm. And I made the decision once we had shut down, like around March, April, that, hey, I'm going to make YouTubes. It's not like I could go outside and go film and there's all these people wanting to go film me. Everybody's locked down. So my first team was literally me and my wife. That was it. And so if you watch my first videos, I'm just sitting at my dining table making videos. My wife edited probably the first like 20, 30 videos I did.
And did she know how to edit?
No. She should watch YouTube. She watch YouTube to learn how to edit.
You can learn anything on YouTube.
Right.
But once again, she also had the faith in what I was doing. I'm like, babe, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm going to need you to edit, by the way.
I think through and through, you guys are a great support structure for each other, because it doesn't just come down to, I see someone posting 5 a day, so that's what I need to do. You said it best. It has to balance with what you're doing. You have to be able to do that and sustain that, because consistency is key. So if you can't sustain that, you're basically wasting your time.
Yeah.
I think it's also important, and we were talking about it earlier, is you got to have a passion for what you're doing, because this does take a lot of time, a lot of work, and a lot of effort. And to feel comfortable on camera talking about something, it's got to be something you're passionate about. It's got to be something that you're comfortable with and can get creative with.
Yeah, for sure. Making content, you've got to enjoy it, because you'll get burnt out. But 2, you got to also just get over judgment and just knowing that, hey, you're gonna suck when you first get on camera, and 2, people are gonna be haters, and that's part of being a creator.
It's gonna happen.
You just gotta laugh at them and keep on moving.
Yeah, like it is what it is, and who cares? And so if you don't have thick skin, it's probably not the career for you. But I do think that you can develop all these things, right? Like, I don't have as thick a skin as I had, or I mean, today I have much thicker skin than I had when I first started.
Sure.
Before I'd look at the comments, I'm like, that guy didn't like me, like,
what did I do wrong?
He made fun of my hair.
yeah, like, what is this guy? Everyone likes my hair. What's the deal? And so I had to learn to get over that. And then even with camera, people are like, man, how'd you learn to speak well? How'd you get good on camera? I'm like, because I filmed so many videos. It was just practice. And so that's where consistency comes in, is if you just put out all these videos every day, you're going to get better.
It's inevitable.
It's inevitable. And that's why, like, even before we filmed this, I'm like, hey, we got to do X, Y, Z. Because I've done it so many times now. I'm like, hey, this is what works.
And we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Great little tidbits of advice. Hopefully we're passing some of those on to you as well.
Yeah, it's cool. For the viewers out there, we're learning today as well. We're kind of in the same shoes you are. We're just getting started. We're 60 days into our YouTube channel. So, today's education for us, which is great.
Well, I got to tell you, for where you guys are at in 60 days was like very similar to where I was at subscriber-wise. But I would say your quality is already so much better.
Well, thank you. I think that's because we're watching other guys like yourself that have great quality, that are putting out great stuff.
Yeah.
And we're reaching out. It's important for viewers to know that people are not unobtainable. I mean, you have people reaching out to you all the time. You've reached out to people like Graham and others that you would think are unattainable, but you just have to ask. And most of the time, you'll respond.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think just come from a place of giving value to whoever it is you're reaching out to, whatever that looks like, right? I remember when I first talked to Graham, I had a small channel at the time, maybe like 20,000, and he DM'd me because somebody had told him, hey, you're going to buy a house in Vegas, talk to Ryan. So we DM, and I just pretty much told him, I go, hey, I'll help you out completely for free. We'll represent you on the deal. You don't have to pay us anything. We'll credit you the commission. I don't really care. I was like, I'm in this for the long haul and relationship. And so, we passed up on, I don't know, a $45,000 to $60,000 commission.
Sure. Yeah, his house was 1.4 or 1.2 or something like that.
It was like something like that.
Yeah, but obviously it's paid over multiple times after that.
Yeah, provide value and, watch what happens.
Yeah. Coming from, more of an entry-level beginner standpoint, because we are just starting, I wanted to make sure I ask you, like, if you could give yourself one piece of advice back then, if you could reach out and say, hey, make sure you don't forget this, or make sure you do this, what would that be?
Dude, that's a tough question. There's so many things that you screw up along the way.
Even little things not to forget, like one big thing for us, and we learned that from you and other big guys like Graham, is it's not just about the visual of the video. There's so much that goes into underneath the video, the descriptions, the SEO of actually running a channel.
The thumbnails, the titles.
So much behind the scenes.
Yeah, for sure on YouTube, the thumbnails and the titles are like the most overlooked aspect of this. Like, they make the biggest impact whether a video succeeds or not.
And that, I had no idea when we started that.
And honestly, I forgot to even say that until you mentioned it. But like, to me now, it's like obvious. I'm like, the thumbnails and the titles, they're super important.
That's why I'm bringing this up.
Yeah,
bringing this up for you guys.
But nobody knows that.
Yeah.
And so when I think about that, for sure, that would be number one. The number two thing would be actually what we've worked on today is like, hey, in YouTube, the first 30 seconds are so important. So don't have any fluff. Don't waste it. Really tell the viewer why they should watch this video the rest of the way.
I like that.
Yeah, and I think it kind of is following like TikTok and everything else, where it's people's attention spans are going shorter and shorter. So you got to really cut to a solid, valuable point right out of the gate.
I think obviously people's attention spans are getting shorter, but I think that's going to continue to happen even like with the movie industry. I think movies are going to get shorter. I think you're going to see like more cuts and just like constant changing of pace. I'm like 90% sure.
The human race is being programmed to
instant. We want it now.
Yeah.
We want change, and the world is changing so fast. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So we went over starting a channel, what that's like. We're starting a channel. Asked you and got your advice on some of our struggles and tips on how to make it better and how to improve. Is there anything you think we should do going forward in our next steps of our YouTube channel?
Yeah, I would say for you guys, you're still early, so you don't really know what works or what doesn't yet. So one, put out as many videos as you can. Set that consistency bar for whatever it is. And then two, try a bunch of different types of videos. You guys are walking flips. That's great. Do those. Maybe do a vlog in the office. Talk about like what it's like out here in the office. Maybe do something else where you're helping a new flipper.
I like that. That would be cool. Providing value to a newbie trying to get out maybe on his first house.
Maybe do a full example.
Something like that.
Yeah.
If you guys have any ideas of stuff you want us to see, drop us a comment below. We'll read them, we'll respond, and we'll try to make a video about just that.
Yeah, we really appreciate your feedback. We're always trying to improve, so please drop a comment. We want to know what we need to do to help add value to your lives.
That's great advice because right now, it's so early, like you really can't screw up.
No.
Like go out there and try everything, see what works.
Yeah, and I always give this example. Like my biggest video was my couch flipping one. And
Great video, by the way.
Dude, I can't tell you like what kind of like revolution that started across the country. If you look at Craigslist across the country, they're all doing it. I just crack up.
It all started here.
It
It's a
started
couch
literally
flipping phenomenon.
Dude, it's crazy. And that was not a video where I'm like, oh, this is gonna just light the world on fire. I was like, whatever. I used to do this. Like, let's just make a video and talk about it. And I had no idea it would happen. So that's the point, is you really have no idea when you're starting out, like what's gonna blow up.
What's going to stick, what's going to go, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, your best video might be like you guys totally screwing up something. Like, you just
We do plenty of that.
Yeah. just detail it.
Lots of stuff goes wrong. It doesn't always go right.
Sure.
And
But
people like that.
it's important to show that because we're real.
Yeah.
We're running real businesses, we're real people, making real mistakes, but also having real success too. So showing all of it, I have no problem with that.
Yeah. And that's probably where the vlog would come into play.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun having you. We always appreciate the value that you can provide to us as a mentor and as a friend. So thanks again for coming on and talking to the world about your social media successes.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you guys having me on. I'm excited to watch the Boeckle brothers just blow up. What's the goal for the rest of this year? How many subscribers?
So we are trying and we are racing to get to a couple milestones. One, we already hit the 1,000 subscribers, so that was great. That was like initial, basically like a proof of concept.
And to monetize, of course, we need the 4,000 watch hours.
Right.
I think we're at like 800 now, so
Yeah.
and growing. So I know it starts to compound. What do you think our goal is for the year? Let's put it on camera.
I'd love to hit 10 by the end of the year, 10,000 subscribers. So we're halfway through the year right now. I know that it starts to snowball, right, as you go. So that may sound crazy now when we're releasing this video, but let's fast forward 3 to 4 months from now. That might not be so crazy. Hopefully it's not.
I want to give you a new goal. 25,000
by December 31st.
25,000.
Okay.
That's the goal.
You've heard the man.
I'll accept that goal if you agree to a couple more videos with us to help us make it happen.
We'll do it.
Awesome. Well, it's been great having you on today. Thank you again.
Yep.
And if you guys want to hear anything about this video, or if you want any more specifics on it, drop a comment below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss this interview and others like it. And until then,
we'll see you on the flip side.